How are we all doing? I hope you're keeping well, even though I know nobody's watching, because I just came out ready to, how are you Roundy, how are you Frosty, ready to go live, turn the camera around and there's this fucking wheel going around in a circle. However, the internet is not wanting to play ball with me tonight, and I don't know how this is gonna go. So if we have too much connectivity issues, we might knock it on the hand. Now tonight though, I do have a little trick up my sleeve. I can make two-way communication with the good lady inside, so she can tell me how the stream is doing. And the always are the best. John Joe to Mortal, John Joe to Mortal, come in Mortal. Hello Mortal, how's it going? Okay, well if it's still going we'll party on. These are the little Sony CB band transceivers that we looked at quite a while ago. Now of course the other killer is switch mode power supply noise because of the laptop plugged in and have the phone plugged in. I am using Galaxy S21 Ultra, so that's the weapon of choice, and it's got a rapid camera on it now, I have to say. I was looking at a few comparisons on YouTube this morning between it and the iPhone Pro 13, and camera stabilization and all, it blows the iPhone out of the water, so it's a really good phone. Anyway, I better have a look at the comments here while they're rolling in. Northern Ramblers here, Wenlock TVDX is here from very far away down under. Cody's, was it something you said? Yeah, well you must have sneezed on your Wi-Fi box, that's what you did on me. Have I frozen again? I hope I haven't. That's a fine long appendage you have there, boss. Yeah, it's a fine aerial, alright. Probably a quarter wave up on 28 megs. He's frozen again, or he's very good at playing statues. Oh no. The sound is way better, more sensitive mics obviously. Yeah, it's just a super phone. So very happy with it. Let's see, I think I've 10 watching here, but we know that my laptop doesn't really update as often as it could. So I hope you're all keeping well. I'm sorry about the rocky start. I'm probably gonna have to figure out maybe putting a Wi-Fi box into the shed here, and that might be. I'm not frozen in Cork. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I only got the newer phone when I broke the other one, so you know, I said I got a decent phone. I got a good deal on it too, so I'm happy enough. Of course, they're coming down in price now because the S22 is on the way out for Christmas. So I did a bit of a, I don't know if anyone here watches South Park, but I did a bit of a Cartman on it, you know. Mom, I want a Samsung S22. You can have a Toshiba Handybook, son. Anyway, the Wi-Fi boosters put out wicked RFI through. Yes, they do, Roundy. That's why I don't want one. We actually got one off air, and I ended up turfing it in the bin. But what I'm told you can do is, I need to look into it further. I'm not really a techie fellow, but I have an IT consultant. Is that you can use a Wi-Fi box as a repeater. So I think if I was to run Cat5 from the house, from the Wi-Fi box, out to the shed and plug it into another Wi-Fi box, you can use that as a repeater. But I don't know much about it, so I'll be only telling you lies. Oh, 12 watching now. Ooh, stylish. So anyway, a rocky start, but I think we're going. These live streams that I'm going to be doing, I haven't decided whether I'll do one a week or one a fortnight. But basically, it's just a bit of a catch up with you live, and 13, 14 now around the according to my machine. It's just a bit of a catch up live. And then the Ojnoj community can interact with one another live in real time in the comments, which I think is good. Because we are sort of a little community here around the Ojnoj YouTube channel. Cody, it's one a day. um, one a day, yeah, it's the 14th, yeah, one a day. Uh, what was I saying? Yeah, so, little community, so everyone can interact with one another in the chat as well as with me and whatnot. How are you, Rick? Good to see you. Just up the road from me. One of the things, whilst the YouTube channel continues to grow, as we're aware, and I've said this so many times, you're probably sick of hearing me say it now. However, you know, when I came out here, which would be 3 years in January, made a little video of a Dutch pirate, and I thought, 12 people watched it or something. I thought it was bad. Anyone was interested. However, we've grown since then, and I've got 84 subscribers as I talk at the minute. What I will say is, on one hand, while I like the fact that the channel is getting bigger all the time, it's also kind of cool that it's a small, niche, close-knit community thing. I know that doesn't really make sense, but obviously what I would say too, and I'm a realist, out of those 1,484 subscribers, very few of them watch any of my content at all. There will be friends of mine who would have subscribed just for the sake of subscribing when I started, who would never ever watch it because they're not interested in vintage TVs or radios or that, which is fair enough. You also have people that for some reason subscribe to every channel that they see on YouTube and never look at them again, and I've got quite a few of those. So looking at the statistics, I reckon returning subscribers at the minute is probably around 300, right? And then there's probably 150 or so people who are not subscribed but who watch all my videos, which is fair enough. Subscribe or don't subscribe, it doesn't really make a whole pile of difference. Once I'm getting the watch time minutes and all, that's what counts, which is good. Although I should say, please like and subscribe. Obviously, give us a thumbs up. 20 people watching, so the thing is cranking up, and the picture doesn't look too bad. But I do think if I had a more solid internet connection, because this camera is capable of fantastic things. We were zooming, I was messing around with the zoom on it earlier on, and I was able to zoom into the carpet and actually take a photograph of one of the fibres sticking out of the carpet. It's a phenomenal camera, so it's quite good. That's Pat Rooney says that's 299 more than I have. No, Rowney, 300 isn't shabby at all. No, I'm not knocking it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. I'm just explaining that while you see, 1.4, it's the same for all YouTubers though. There's loads of them that are the same, where you'll see the maybe 5,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, or what have you. But, they're only getting 400-500 views, maybe 1,000 views on their videos. Now, some of my videos are more popular than others. Like the Bush Valiant here, the TV161. That's been a very popular video, right? People are really interested in TVs, right? And, I think that spurred on from the American guys like Shango 66 and I don't know, head's gone blank, but he's obviously the most prominent one. But there's a few more. DRH some number is another YouTuber that has a lot of very early RCA TVs and stuff. Not many people doing it over here though, on this side of the pond. But there's a few, and it seems to be taking off more. So the TVs seem to be fairly popular. One of my most popular videos, if it's not my most popular video is on the Black & Decker screwdriver. That has something like 17,000 views, which is incredible. And it was just a quick video that I made on this a few years ago, 2 years ago I think, and blew up, everyone. And funny enough, this screwdriver, the most views it gets are from the South American countries. Don't ask why, but it's just, it's a strange thing. One of the other interesting things, when you go into the YouTube analytics, when you have all that, is the countries that people are watching from. So I have actually got viewers from Iraq. I've got a viewer in Iraq. Few of the North African countries well. I've got a couple of viewers in Portugal. Obviously the bulk of them are UK, good few in England, and good couple of US people. But it's interesting the amount of different countries. Azerbaijan even pops up. Now why is someone in Azerbaijan watching a plonker in a shed in Ireland? But it just goes to show how small the world has become since the advent of the internet. Let me have another quick glance at the comments. Cody's tells me he has 501 subscribers now. Oh, you're doing well. 499 of them subscribe to everyone. The other two are me. I won't tell you how many of my subscribers are me. I think everyone does a little bit of that. It's allowed, of course. And a lot of those who do, especially in the US, are older guys. I suppose many of them worked on this stuff for real, made a living from it as well. Yeah, makes sense, alright. There isn't really that many young people coming into the thing. Although there's a few. It looks semi-promising, I suppose. But I mean, you just can't expect people to have an interest in something that they weren't brought up with or whatever. I mean, it's a bit odd that I'm into old 405 line TVs, which I certainly wasn't brought up in. The last 405 transmitter went off the air 2 years before I was born. 2.5 years before I was born. But having said that, it's something I got into. But you can't expect, some 20-year-old young fella to be into this stuff. They're not going to be. If they're into electronics, they're probably going to be into Arduinos and Raspberry Pis or that kind of gear, It's a bit like the amateur radio brigade, the old fellas, the old boys, and there's not many of them left, built all their own gear. Now people program all their own gear, It's different strokes for different folks. But the thing will change. And you're seeing, for example, Bush TV 22s are coming down in price for the first time. First time in, say, 15 years. Brown box radios from the 40s and 50s that were, 15, 20 years ago, they were good money. They were going for good money. Now you could pick up a restored 1940s radio for a score if you look in the right place. Now obviously it's a bit different in Ireland compared to the UK. I'm sort of going off the UK trend. Things are a little bit different here, the supply and demand and what have you. But the price of stuff is certainly changing. Anyone who thought that starting up a large radio collection or TV collection will be a nest egg for retirement, I've gotten a big wake-up call. And sadly, you're going to see in the next couple of years a lot of these old boys that have 300-400 radios and stacked away in sheds and all, they're going to pop their clogs, and a lot of the stuff is going to end up in the bin, unfortunately, because the interest isn't there. What's the most people have the most interest in now is retro stuff, retro gaming, 1980s, 90s TVs, boom boxes. This is the stuff that's going sky high at the minute. The record thing, the record player phase, that's gone. Like 10 years ago, Danzet record players, which were crap in their day, well, they were cheap, aimed at the low end of the market. They were going for mega money. That's finished now. That's gone. So it's just interesting to see the way the whole thing is progressing. good for me because I like all these old tellies. Maybe my thing is going to get cheaper. I know most of my gear isn't really worth a whole lot. Most of it skipped mines. Stuff is being given. I have bought the odd piece, obviously, but I don't think if I get knocked over by a runaway truck tomorrow, I don't think Mrs. Ojnoj is in for a big windfall. I think she'd probably better off throwing a drop of petrol around the shed and burn it. Be the easiest way of getting rid of it. Anyway, having said all that, I better have another look at the comments. To gut them and put Bluetooth in them. Yeah, funny enough, Roundy, there's a fella on adverts, I'm sure you've seen him. That's all he does. Some very interesting radios too that he's turned into Bluetooth doofers. I won't say any more about that. Evening, I'm young. Well, it was my first time and I'll never forget him. I'm young too, mate. Yeah, so Roundy knows who I'm talking about. Needless to say, I can't put a link in the description because I might be involved in a bit of litigation. But it's not uncommon for people to do that, to gut these radios and stick Bluetooth in them. You'll all remember my video last year on the Little Pie radio that had been converted to Bluetooth. Dangerously, if you ask me, and but luckily enough I had a chassis in a rough cabinet and it made up a nice job. I must actually dig that out again, it's in the container, but it's working well. Yeah, this thing of getting an Avo meter and sticking here's one now, there's an Avo 7. These make a lovely table lamp. You know, why on earth? There's actually a YouTuber, a radio YouTuber, who did a video on doing one of these as a lamp, which was. But I suppose if you're looking at it from a commercial point of view, I just don't know why someone would want a multimeter as a lamp. You know, it's not. I don't. Whilst the Avo 7 is a functional piece of kit, useful even now, it's not something that I want to plug on top of the telly in the house to look at. But yeah, it's strange. Although that steampunky thing, the other sad thing about that, of course, is, you know, Johnny Hipster goes out and he pays 150 quid for the squirrel cage bulb screwed to the top of the lamp, and he brings it home and he has it for a couple of weeks and he's looking at it, and then he gets bored and he takes it in the bin, and that's the end of that. It's gone forever. But is there enough people out there to save all the Avo 7s and Avo 8s and things? I don't know, you see, it's, you know, some people will say if there's one left somewhere in the world, isn't it enough? I don't know, it's hard. It's not my cup of tea though. Just to touch on the Bluetooth radio thing and adding Bluetooth to radio and all that entails. These days, I don't see the point. What I would do is, instead of modifying the radio anyway though, because Bluetooth, while it's the standard now, in 5 or 10 years Bluetooth might not be a thing anymore. And then what you've done is you've stuck what's going to become an obsolete bit of kit into a radio. Now I know it can be done in a reversible way and all that, but why bother? Instead, my approach would be to build a separate box with a Bluetooth receiver in it, tied in with an AM pantry transmitter, right? So you stick that there, you can go get your phone, do Bluetooth, and it transmits to all your radios via Bluetooth. Is that not a better idea? And it's a one-stop solution, and you can do all your radios with it. I don't know. Comments welcomed. They aren't making any more of them. Well, that's very true, Roundy, and that's true in many aspects of life, that they are not making any more of these things. I suppose radio is dying due to AM here in England being on its arse with very little to listen to nowadays. Yeah, the AM thing, it's getting worse. It's getting bleaker by the day. Kev B tells me that he works in a Cal lab and we still get Avos in for Cal and repair. As you see now, I love that. I love hearing that. That's great. I love hearing that. There's a chap on the UK Vintage Radio forum, and he always comments that, why would anyone use an Avo 8 for in a diagnostic setting, that they haven't been calibrated in years, and could you trust them and all that? Well, Kev B's going to answer this. How many Avo 8s that come across your bench actually need to be calibrated? Right? You probably check them for calibration, which are various standards, your voltage references and your resistance references, and you probably have some sort of current reference as well. How many of them are actually out? You need to go into and start fluking around with them. I'd say very few. So I have no problem trusting my Avo 8 here. The one I use all the time is this Mark 5. You've seen it in loads of videos. But I have a few Avos. I have a 3 and a 4. I don't like using the 4 because every time it drops it smashes into a million pieces. And the 3 has issues which I never got to the bottom of. But so this is the one I use all the time. I gave a fella a tenner for this at the MVCF quite a few years ago. And I have a little voltage reference module here using the AD548, I think it is, a little Chinese module. It's in here. And I can check this off this, and it's bang on. So I don't see what the problem is. So yeah, I'm happy enough to use the Avo. Has Kev B replied to me yet? Not yet. I am interested to know how many you actually have to open up. I'd say very few. Well, yeah, I see that, Roundy Mooney. AM transmitter is the way to go for ourselves, but not if you're re-gifting them to good homes. To be honest, I've done both. The biggest challenge with the low power tranny being the local RF mix. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose if you're doing up a radio for someone to give it to them, sticking some sort of a Bluetooth module in, then I suppose, yeah, you can't be giving everyone a box either. And they're not going to want to pay for the effort. But of course, we know that we can put the Bluetooth module in and run it in up to the volume pot, and without destroying the radio, in the sense that you can put the radio back original handy enough. It's like our other friend on the famous Irish selling site, though, that what he's doing is crazy, and some of the stuff that he's done is even crazier. Would have been worth more before he done all that. However, the world we live in. Avos and analog meters are great for automotive testing when damp wiring can give you a false reading. I have in the collection, and I use it in automotive circles. I don't go into off-topic things a whole lot, but let's just say I used to be doing that kind of thing. I have an Avo 12, and the people I worked with used to laugh at me with this Avo 12. And I used to say, and it has a really low impedance. I think it's 166 ohms per volt or something like that, really low. And one day a chap was working at the back of this vehicle. He couldn't understand how he was getting 24 volts up to the tail lamp, but the tail lamp refused to illuminate. And he was using, it wasn't a fluke, but it was some snazzy multimeter. And I brought over my Avo 12. Am I right saying Avo 12 or Avo 10? You know the automotive one anyway. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think it is 12. Brought over my Avo 12, hooked it up, no voltage. And he scratched his head. He says, your multimeter's broken, John Joe. I says, no, it's not. And I explained to him the thing with impedances and whatnot. So a lesson was learned. So the old stuff can be very good, especially when you're tracing stuff like that. Yes. As you say, yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. Kev B writes, usually pretty good. Common blown resistors and battery leakage. Movements are bulletproof as long as it hasn't been dropped. Yeah. Although I must say, I've had them take a few little tumbles in the workshop over the years, and they have survived. But obviously, you wouldn't want to be dropping them off from a great height onto a hard surface. But yeah, no, that's what I would have expected. Alright, battery leakage, and I suppose you'll get gobbers that will try and see what resistance the HT in a radio is or something. But that's, I think it's an 18.40 ohm resistor that can burn out and what have you. Very good. Can you get bits and pieces and you have to make them up yourself? I don't think Avo or Mega or whatever they call themselves now actually cover bits anymore for the 8 meters. But I'm sure you can get by. I'm enjoying this. The time has gone by a bit quick. It's already 25 past 8. We're 25 minutes into this nonsense. Once again, I will say, I'm sorry about the lesson earlier on. We will have to get better internet connectivity going forward. But it's all working out quite well. Yeah. 24 people in the watching me live now, which is good. Good to see you all in. What I was thinking of doing, while we're talking shite, I was thinking of having a quick squint at this Empress radio, which we touched on yesterday briefly. So I think open this up and spray a bit of magic glue into it. I did have it working on 5 Live earlier on, but it's very scratchy, so I need to spray some magic juice into it. Yeah, that's what I would have expected, alright, Kevin. Good man. Well, I suppose the thing about the Avos is there was that many of them made. It's probably not hard to pick up a few scrap meters. Interesting. Where's Steve 405 UK when you want him? Because he loves all this. These high quality radios. Now, this has the charging as well. For charging up batteries and stuff. I suppose I'll just bring the camera in and give you a quick glance at what I'm looking at here. It's going to be wild or exciting, I needn't tell you. But one of the things I'm just wondering here is, now I suppose I need to be careful I don't start pointing the camera at the laptop screen, because we might get a bit of feedback. Turn on a bit of light here on this. Why are these two resistors floating in midair? There's a 5.6k and 1.6k resistors, and both of them are snipped and just floating in thin air. Strange, because it's working. So I'm just going to spray some magic goo into it anyway and see what she does then. Running low on Serviceall Super 10 Magic Goo. I got this Ambersol Contact Cleaner FG. While it doesn't contain any lubricating properties, I have found it quite good. They're floating in the air because they've gone high. And a stack of 20-30 tails for the 15-volt battery. Yeah, Kev, that's what's in my one since I got it, and that was a long time ago, and they're still perfect. I don't think I'll ever have to change them. I certainly wouldn't recommend buying the original batteries off eBay or whatever. Waste of money. Yeah. What was I doing? I was going to spray some goo into this. Yeah, finding this Ambersol stuff quite good. It actually, I had one of the Eddystone radios on the bench here recently, and it was making a crackling noise when you'd be tuning it. And it turned out to be the contacts on the VC. And I sprayed Super 10 into it first, and it was still crackling. And then I started going off somewhere else, but I came back to it. I sprayed this gear on it and it stopped. So I think this might be a little bit harsher in its use. Now, as Steve 405, Steve of the UK, what am I saying? Vintage Electronics Long Stay Workshop commented that they were working on one of these. They had one of these and a hacker and a Roberts on the bench. The hacker and the Roberts did not work, but this worked first time. So what does that tell you? Well, I don't know what it tells me, but they seem to be fairly good for what they were. Alright. As you say, I'm after finding 2 of them recently, and both of them have worked after a fashion, after just being plugged in. You can say, I don't know, would a better speaker make them sound better? It probably would. But cells there, silk purse, come to mind. Let's I think the variable capacitors are also a bit noisy. I don't want to go spraying goo in there though. Spraying crap into Verticon capacitors has ended poorly for me in the past. Settle yourself. Now, of course, with laptops and all sorts of crap on, we don't have the ideal RF conditions in the workshop tonight. It certainly doesn't like the Samsung Ultra anyway. We're on AM here, by the way. There's 5 live.
So, apologies to Darren Lewis there. Joby's going to put it back in the next hour or so.
As I say, we're not. RF conditions here aren't ideal with the laptop on and what have you. But I think it's performing quite well for what it is. Golden brown, stick it up in my arm. Settles me down and helps me fix tellies. Now I probably fare better than people in the UK for AM because I'm on the east coast of Ireland. So, you know, any of the AM transmitters on the west coast of England or Midlands, I'm going to get them because it's a short trip across the sea. So I have an unfair advantage for the viewers like stuck in Middlesbrough or somewhere, you know, it mightn't be so good. That's not a slur against Middlesbrough, by the way. Yeah, FM is wonderful now. Right, let's go for the airband. Just in the off chance we happen to pick up an airplane going by. No, not tonight. Yeah, the variable capacitor has gone a bit noisy, alright, in the FM section. I don't think I'm going to go near it. I could chance spraying a bit of goo into it and then leaving it dry out. But what I have found in the past is if you spray anything in them and they're still wet, the veins pull along and the whole thing rips up into shit inside. Anyway, an interesting device, no doubt. Has a nice charge light on it, so you can charge. Could use it for charging the car battery. I've been warned against using it to actually charge, putting iCads in it and using it to charge it, which was probably sensible advice. Let's put that camera back. Nearly as good as the cameraman in RTE. Ah, I'm back. Like I just got it in time. Right, we'll see do I stay on. I don't know. If it knocks off again, we'll call it a night. It's a bit annoying. Now, I think I'm back. Yeah, definitely people have gone away, and I don't blame them. We were sort of coming towards the live stream anyway, but disappointing all the same, you know. Watching that second wheel going around in a circle. Anyway, I'm back. What does Gaz say? Gaz says Wi-Fi relay in a weatherproof box halfway between the house and the shed can pull the plug anyway. I don't know if you can pull the plug. Can't be having this. I'm back. I am live. Right, I'm back. Dear oh dear. This is disappointing. I'm sorry about this. It's one of those things. Cheers, Roundy. Yeah, I think I'll have to look into getting Wi-Fi in the shed. Even proper Wi-Fi. You know, we can't be to have a decent connection, obviously, because it's annoying for you and it's annoying for me. Obviously, I'm talking away here, and you know, I'm talking to myself, which is a bit pointless. Now, I'll make a radio communication with Mrs. Ojnoj just to make sure that everything's going alright. It's strange why it does take a wobbler like that, you know. Ojnoj to base, Ojnoj to base. Right, back live once again. Sorry about this. Look, I'll keep going, but what I'm going to say is the next time it pops off, I'm going to pull the plug because we can't be having this. It's taking all the wood out of it, unfortunately. I have a fine phone, alright, Roundy, but it's no use if it won't do the business. You know, really, that picture should be pin sharp, you know, so it's dropping out. As I say, the 5G isn't grey here, the 4G isn't grey here, the 3G isn't grey here, and the 2G isn't grey here. And they all what happens is the phone tries to switch between one and the other, and when it switches, it drops out, which is a bit shit because sometimes we'd be here mid conversation on the phone and just go, and that can happen 5 or 6 times. Yeah, I bet if the internet was valve driven, it might not crash.